Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our next webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly as part of our Roadmap to Recovery series. And today we are going to focus on the ski market. There's been a lot written about it recently, and I thought it'd be really good to bring together three experts in that field. So I'm joined today by Alex Herrmann, who is the Director for UK and Ireland for Switzerland Tourism. We've got Simon McIntyre, who is General Manager for Ski for Iglu.com, and also Joe Ponte, who is the Chief Executive of Hotelplan, which of course incorporates brands such as Ingham and Ski Esprit. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
All right, Joe, let me come to you because we've written about you and some of your announcements most recently, and that's, I guess, regarding the cancellation of holidays now for this season up until Easter. But I guess actually, because this is the first time I've brought together the ski, a group of ski market individuals, could you just sort of tell us, how things have played out? Because of course this started in the midst of this season last year. And obviously that was kind of curtailed for you. And I imagine you were hoping this season would be better, but it's dragged on and on. So tell us where things are.
Yeah, look, it really has dragged on and on, Lucy. When I spoke to you before Christmas, we were really hopeful that we'd get departures away for skiing from February and into March. But with the new variant of coronavirus and the increasing restrictions on people's travel, it's just become clearer that it's becoming less and less likely. And we've had a really clear and consistent process with how we review and make cancellations. We pushed balance of payments to 4 weeks for up and coming months, so customers didn't have to pay until 4 weeks out. And then we make the decision on the coming month 4 weeks before that. So that's on the basis that we've made the decision for our March departures, because looking at it right now, it's simply not going to be possible to safely conduct ski holidays in March. And we'll make that decision for April in 4 weeks from now. But in all likelihood, I think it's looking at risk the entire season, but we know that skiers love to ski, so we want to hold on as long as we can. If we can get some people away in April, we will, but we'll only do it if we can do it as safely as possible.
Okay, well, let's come on with all of you in a bit to talk about what may well be left of this season, but let's come to Simon as a travel agent then. Focused, I know you're also focused on cruise, and we can talk about that, but for the purposes of today, how's it been running a ski specialist travel agency through the last sort of 10, 11 months?
It's it's been tough. I think I don't think that's probably unique to us. It's been challenging. You mentioned that this started for ski back in March last year, or even actually early February, and from that point onwards, really, it's been up, down, sideways, every which way you can imagine, with information from the government, from countries, lockdowns, etc. It's been a challenge. I mean, we deal with 60 plus tour operators, suppliers, so trying to corral them to get information to our customers has been a challenge. Everybody has embarked on a journey through uncharted waters. No one has ever experienced or dealt with anything like this before, and it's been interesting. It's been tough for staff. Moving to work from home whilst the ski season was cancelled. All of our team moved really seamlessly to working from home, but they were facing some of the most challenging situations, conversations that they'll probably have. And not being close to them and not being in a kind of office environment to help them and spur them on has been really challenging as well. So there's a kind of multitude of things that have happened, as we know, but that have led to it just being a really incredible year. So.
Okay, all right. We'll come back and pick up on some of those bits, but let's speak to you, Alex, as a destination. Obviously, ski is huge for you. I know that people go to Switzerland for many reasons, but ski is huge. How have you coped over the last 10 months and with all the changes? And then obviously, I know you look after the UK and Ireland as a market, but I guess you're looking at your colleagues who are looking after other markets as well. And how has the destination coped?
Of course, once we know that this will be a major global catastrophe last year, basically, we adapted our marketing very, very quickly. So for the second quarter of last year, we went to an empathy message globally. We of course changed our tone and the messaging completely. Hoped for a summer season, which we also did get, even from the UK market. We got quite a little bit of traction in that short window that we had between the quarantine being lifted and the quarantine being reintroduced. There were about 6 weeks in the summer where there was quite a bit of travel from the UK, even much better from Germany and some of the other neighboring countries. But of course, Switzerland as such a global destination, we had all the Asian markets and the Americas falling completely away from one moment to another. That was of course huge. The Swiss made some of that up. Some more Swiss than ever spent the summer in the Swiss mountains. Some resorts that focus on Swiss had record summers actually, but that was of course the minority, and the cities and the whole business travel, the convention, the incentive, all of that market was of course completely down. Then we were hoping for a better winter season, and I don't know whether you're aware of that. Switzerland is actually skiing. All the ski resorts in Switzerland are open. Have been open since mid-November into December. But this is literally with the focus on the Swiss market, so there's no international marketing going on. We don't do any campaigns anywhere, not even in neighboring countries like Germany. This is for the Swiss, because we know with all these restrictions, etc., that also change constantly. This is not the time to promote Switzerland as a skiing destination. But and I hate to say that here, I mean, the season is amazing. The snow is spectacular, and it's snowing right now in the Swiss Alps, so it will be even better next week. And
you don't have to rub it in, Alex.
Now that everybody loves me, so we now, similar as Joe and Simon already said, we look beyond this season, we look into next season. We know that people are already booking now. They realize they can't ski this year, they're booking next year, so that's our focus now.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to pick up on that actually, and with what you said, Joe. So, you know, is it a case now that you're moving most of your focus now to next winter? I mean, you said there though that you're still hoping there might be a chance of, you know, the die-hard skiers, that those of us who are really keen, and if we could get away, we would. But you know, is that just sort of like that would be a bonus if it happens, and really now you're focusing on next winter?
Yeah, as I said, if we can get some away in April, we will, but it'll be very limited volumes, not the volumes that we're used to. Some of the airlines that we use have already cancelled the entire winter season, so it will be limited, but if we can, we will. But you're right, Lucy, our focus has shifted almost entirely to next season. With all the cancellations that we're making now, the focus is giving people the opportunity to book into next season, and 60% of our customers are booking into next season, and our sales into the next ski season are 100% up on where they ordinarily would be. And the season's already almost half sold, which is unprecedented because it's a combination of people booking who've cancelled, but our new bookings coming in. We're taking hundreds of bookings every week into next season. So it's really encouraging. It says to me that people are confident that even if COVID is still around by then, as an industry, we'll be in a place where we can provide a safer travel environment. And that's what Alex says about Switzerland being open. The Swiss resorts, as Alex and I have talked about, are getting a chance to practice and get used to operating in this environment. So I'm confident that by next year, even if COVID is still with us, and it will be in some way, the resorts will have all reacted and be able to provide really safe skiing experiences. So I'll be the first one over as soon as we can.
I'll be with you. And in terms of you saying 60% of people have booked, you're having these fantastic bookings for next year. I mean, I know with your Santa's Lapland program that happened as well, and so you had to put more capacity on, didn't you, out of Manchester because you were getting such good bookings. Yeah, do you anticipate you'll have to put more on in certain really popular resorts or routes, whatever, that for next year?
We're working through that right now. So we've got a commitment that we had already made, and we monitor that really carefully week to week and make those adjustments. You're right with Santa, we added 2,000 seats out of Manchester, and we're about to add a considerable number more because the Santa's program is actually 90% sold now. So it's almost getting impossible to get a seat. But for ski, we will just monitor it closely, make as much use as we can of scheduled services, and if we need to look at some further charters, we certainly will. We want to make sure we can get as many people skiing as possible.
multiple times. Maybe we could all go several trips.
I saw some research yesterday that was done, and it's saying that skiers are saying that they're going to go longer and they're going to go more often to make up for the lost season. So I think that alone is also contributing to how well it's sold. Honestly, I reckon if people want to get skiing on the dates they want, and the resort they want, and the hotel they want, they need to book pretty quickly. So I'm sure you're seeing the same stuff.
Good sales plug there. Well done, Joe.
My pleasure.
Got that in. Simon, let's sit here from the front line then, I guess. What are your customers telling you? Are they similar to Joe? Are they now saying, do you know what, let's forget this year, let's go to next year?
I think, I mean, broadly, yes, but very similar trends. Being the largest ski agent, we certainly get the bulk of the inquiries, and January is always very, traditionally very big for us. So when we turn the phones on still in the morning, we're getting people calling saying, "Hey, can I go on holiday next week?" And we have to manage their expectations. And there are demands from those diehard skiers that you mentioned that people will, at the drop of a hat, go skiing this season if they can. And there was opportunity in Switzerland very early in December. And that the news got out very quickly to those diehard skiers who were really on it and on the phone to us, which was good. Unfortunately, it didn't last. But to echo Joe's comments about next season, I mean, we're considerably up for next year. And what we've seen definitely in the last probably 6 weeks is a real kind of pickup in demand for next season. So, I mean, it's hard to compare year on year, of course, because everything is in the air, but it really feels like that there is pent-up demand out there. And I think as time goes on, more vaccine news gets out there, people become steadily more confident. I think this is really going to affect the whole travel industry, really. But as time goes on, we'll see that demand continue and continue as well. So, yeah,
and can you break
heavily.
Oh, sorry, Simon, I didn't mean to interrupt, but can you break it down in the way Joe did there about, are people booking for longer? Are they traveling with their families? Are they going for several trips in one season? Can you see that in your bookings? Yeah.
And we have a number of people that are booking more trips. Or they're booking 2 or 3 or 4 night trips. But until time goes on, until we've got really good volumes, I haven't seen what Joe's seen yet, but obviously hopeful for that. I mean, what I would say, what we're seeing is it feels like from a trend perspective, a kind of a bit of a return to normal. So this time of the year, people are looking to peak dates for Christmas, half term, New Year, and we're seeing that, but we're getting an extra kick from, I think, the pent up demand. There's almost a season and a quarter of skiers that haven't traveled. So I think we're starting to see that polarized in the peak dates. And that fills me with confidence, knowing that some of those things that we're used to seeing are happening. So I think that it's too early for me to talk about maybe some broader trends, but things
it's encouraging. It's encouraging that it's okay. That's good. Alex, Joe just mentioned there that you're having this opportunity this winter with, resorts being open to sort of test the procedures or the new protocols you've put in place. Can you give us any, a sense of what resorts have had to do in Switzerland to make sure they are safe for people to travel to?
I'm happy to. I mean, every part of the ski experience, every player, every supplier, every provider had to fulfill some very strict safety criteria and procedures. We have launched a separate program called Clean and Safe, a Clean and Safe initiative. So Switzerland people get their own little label, and that's even on top of all the government requirements that are in place. So, for example, there's a mask mandate on public transportation and any kind of enclosed transportation. There's reduction in capacity. So, for example, gondolas are only running on 2/3 of the capacity. Masks also in the waiting areas of these spaces. In the restaurants, currently restaurants are closed though, or only offer takeaway, so that part is not available. In the hotels, of course, there's safety procedures. So So hotels are allowed to be open, but the restaurants can only cater to the hotel guests, which of course created a lot of innovative new offers that have not been around in the past. So people go to dine and then they also spend the night in the hotel instead of the other way around. But these safety procedures are very strict. They've worked, they've been adapted. We've learned throughout the season. There were some issues with queuing, so that has been solved, that people now can queue and socially distance, etc. Or people can buy their tickets in advance.
Can I just ask about that? Sorry, Alex, but can I just ask about the queuing? Because I've been in many a ski lift queue where I am so close to the next person. You know, you're like elbows sharpened to try and get forward. I mean, it's an absolute funnel, isn't it? People are really trying to get to that lift first. And I say it quite flippantly, but I don't mean it that way, because actually it is a point, isn't it? If people or agents watching this are going to get customers questioning them about the safety of that aspect, or being in a gondola, you know, tightly packed in, and you mentioned the reduced numbers and stuff, but is that not happening? And will that, you know, because that could be something that would be concerning.
Yeah, no, the resorts have hired armies of people who make sure that not too many people even approach the gondola station, that they queue safely. They're all dressed in their yellow whatever vests. They're called COVID angels in one place, and COVID whatever in the other place. So the investments were huge of all these of the gondola companies, of the mountain transportation, etc. So a lot has been invested, but it works. There were no major outbreaks anywhere, even over the holidays. The ski resorts were quite busy over the holidays with all the Swiss guests. And it seemed to have worked really well. And so that's something that we can, as Joe said, then of course next year we can say we had a full season to test that, and it worked. And just one little comment for all you really desperate skiers. There's of course summer skiing in the Alps, and Switzerland has some of the highest altitude alpine resorts, as you know, and so there's summer skiing in quite a number of resorts, and you can ski in the morning and take a dip in the lake in the afternoon, like for example in Engelberg and in Lucerne. So for the desperate ones, there is hope to ski in the summer.
I mean, it's a great point. Is that something you might be promoting, Joe?
Definitely have a look at it. I mean, we have a really significant summer program, which traditionally is focused more on that sort of lakes and mountains, walking outdoor stuff. But given we've missed a whole ski season, it's certainly something we should consider. Absolutely.
And you think that will be, Alex, you think that will be sort of possible come July, August time? You know, because it could be that a family really does miss it. They miss their couple of winters skiing, and then they could take the kids skiing in the summer, maybe. I don't know.
It would be fantastic.
Replacement for a proper winter ski holiday. But I mean, Zermatt has quite a few lifts open in the summer, for example, and half of the family can go hike, the other half can ski. And Joe, just one quick comment. We do have Santa in Switzerland, so maybe we should have a talk.
Okay, let's do that. We'll have a discussion, definitely.
Long carriages. There's lots of winter wonderland atmosphere in Switzerland too.
Excellent.
We love Finland too. At that point.
I wanted to ask you, Joe. I mean, Alex mentioned there the investment that resorts are having to make, and if you break it down, it's armies of people. It's all this investment they're having to put in, and that's in a year when you're not getting much business. And then again, you've now had a couple of seasons with like very reduced revenues, I'm sure. What impact does that have on you as a business? You say you're sort of confident for next year. Are you hoping that next year will be so strong you'll hopefully be able to make up some of these losses?
Look, we hope for a strong season next year, and we'll plan for that and put in all of our efforts to make sure we can provide a safe season. But certainly the last season and a half that we have had that we've lost has really hurt us. It's hurt us financially, but we're very lucky, as I spoke to you last time, to have very supportive Swiss owners who have backed us for the long term and continue to do so, and given us that opportunity to continue to invest in these important things for next year. So I'm confident that we're going to get a good ski season away next year. How big it will be will just be determined based on the evolving situation and how prepared we can all be to make sure it's as safe as possible for our customers.
Okay, so that's good and reassuring for anybody watching in terms of you as a tour operator, but you rely on travel agents a lot who must have been hit really hard. We'll come on to ask Simon, but we have seen some ski specialists already fall by the wayside. I'm sure there's others as this season drags on not operating that will be really feeling the pinch. So how are you kind of managing your distribution in terms of sort of the security around your distribution and your partners?
Yeah, look, I mean, what I've seen throughout this crisis across our industry in the UK is the industry doing best to support each other and come together. So we do everything we can to support our agency partners, long-standing relationships with the likes of Simon at Iglu and many other agency chains that are really important to our distribution. So where we can, we're supporting them through training and development through this process, and we sincerely hope that they're going to get the support they need to get through this. I would really like to see, and there seems to be some growing momentum about some government support for our industry. I, as a leader in the industry, am really supportive of the measures the government takes, but it'd be nice to see that support come back our way and start to get some targeted support for the travel industry
and
to
when
get
you
these
say
businesses through it.
Sorry, Joe, when you say targeted, are you talking about the sort of just for the travel in general, or do you think the ski market particularly, which has lost effectively, two of its key, times when it should be making money, do you think that you should be treated even differently?
No, I don't, Lucy. The reality is that it'd be a hard argument to determine who's been most hit in the travel industry. I'm talking about our industry as a whole, not just airports or airlines, tour operators, travel agencies who are all supporting this, but our industry has effectively been shut down. We support the measures.
Are you confident that you might get some sector-specific support?
Well, it's starting to gather momentum. I think it was the Minister for Crowley sent a letter to the Prime Minister signed by over 50 MPs. It was a great letter that went from all of the agency groups like ATAS and ABTA that's gone to SHAPS to try and force that discussion about it. So it feels like more than ever, the industry's become really united to start to push for that support. And I just hope that we get listened to, because the reality is, travel has been part of British life for such a long period, and it's something we take for granted. But there's people that have been delivering those holidays for such a long time that are on their knees, and we need that support. It's employment of thousands of people that we're talking about.
Yeah. And Simon, I'm not going to ask you for your full financials in any way, but you are an agency that depends on ski and cruise, which are clearly two of the hardest hit sectors. I know everybody has been, but that's, they've really suffered. And you say everyone's seamlessly worked from home, but I'm presuming you've made use of the furlough scheme and other grants and things. But how tight or how hard has it been, and how much longer can you go on? I mean, clearly you're going to need some income soon from those, or some significant income soon.
Yeah, I think the last. I can talk from a ski perspective rather than a kind of a cruise perspective, obviously. The last few months have been hard, but what we've been doing as a business is really planning for a prolonged period of difficult trading conditions. Planning for uncertainty almost sounds a bit odd, but trying to work out where we think things will go, when we think demand will pick up or drop off, etc. So we've made the most of the flexi furlough scheme, etc. And what we're doing as a business is looking very carefully at what we do and making sure that we're working with the right partners like Joe and the Hotelplan guys at Ingham's and Ski Total. And we're doing good enough levels of business, which we are. January actually was surpassed our expectations from a ski perspective. So we're working really hard on managing everything and cost, and making sure that we're ready and fighting fit for when this bounce comes back, because we're really confident. I'm really confident that as I said at the start, when the further vaccine rollout and more positivity are just going to create such a surge from the pent-up demand. So we're focusing on being there and being ready, and that's really that's really one of our kind of focus areas.
Well, Joe's already concerned me that I haven't booked for next season, and I'm not going to get my date. So people need to watch this, and then hopefully you'll get some more bookings in. Alex, you mentioned that you'd had to stop all your marketing in the UK, but when do you think that will restart? And I know you talk to travel agents, you talk to tour operators, you work jointly with partners. So when do you think you'll be able to kind of ramp all that back up and start getting a positive message out again?
We will start very soon. It was mostly difficult in the November-December timeframe. If you remember, some discussion within the Alpine countries, why some are opening and others are not. So that was just a very sensitive matter. So we were a little bit less, try to be a little less loud than we like to be. We will start very soon. We will fully focus on recovery this spring already. And after talking to Joe and Simon, I mean, I know people are thinking about winter now, so we should be in front of people now. And that's one of the reasons why we are doing a lot with the travel trade, doing a lot with the media to make sure we're on the radar.
Yeah, and when people are considering where they go skiing, you know, like all the measures that Switzerland has put in place, is that mirrored in the other top ski destinations, other countries, or is everybody doing something different? You know, like, you know, just so that you get that message across that you are safe and you've taken all your precautions, etc.
I mean, I of course hope that the entire Alpine region will benefit from a great season next year. I could just speak for Switzerland. We are, I think, the only resort that has, or the only destination that had the chance to have a full winter season. Of course, touch wood that we can finish the season, but it really looks like that. The numbers are going the right direction in Switzerland. Restaurants should reopen on the 1st of March. And there's no indication right now that the ski season should be shortened in Switzerland. And then I guess together with our reputation, some might say a little bit of boring reputation of being the clean, you know, the safe place where things always work like clockwork, etc. I think this will help us then going forward because, I mean, Switzerland is clean, and now with a successful winter season and a successful summer season, by the way, also where we had the first opportunity to make sure that the gondolas are COVID safe and the whole procedures and everything, actually also the hotels work. Together with all of that, I think we have a good story to tell for next year.
We don't think you're boring, Alex, by the way. But it's good, and it's great if that, you know, can play to your favour. If that's, you know, people think it's clean and safe, then fantastic. Joe, just finally then, because I'm conscious of your time, but agents watching this, and I know, you know, Simon was talking about getting everybody ready and training, etc. And I know you've been trying to kind of inspire, and you've had people, you know, doing the same sort of training stuff that they would ordinarily do. Even I'm sure they're doing it virtually now. But is that sort of, you know, how are you, or what is the message now that you're putting out to your trade partners?
It's just the message is about a few things. One is around booking next season and the sorts of things that are going to be in place, like Alex has talked about, so they can feel rest assured that they'll be able to make a booking now and that customer will be able to travel safely by then. And we're also just talking about the benefits of booking with a tour operator. I think people who booked with Ingham's and the Hotelplan businesses last season, the current one that have cancelled, have seen the benefit of that, where we've been refunding within 14 days if someone wants a refund, been changing dates and communicating as well as we can. So it's about talking about what the season's going to be for next year and how you can best sell into that season, and also for the benefit of booking with businesses like us.
And will you have to continue that flexibility that you've had, you know, this thing around like the balance payments due within 4 weeks, etc.? Will that continue into next season, or are there other sort of increased flexibility? Is that what you're going to have to offer going forward now?
It's hard. We haven't made those decisions about next season, but we will do whatever's in the best interests of our customers to make it as flexible as we can, and also in the interest to make sure that we can fund and deliver those ski holidays. But we've been very lucky that we've been able to be flexible in this crazy season this year, and if it's challenged again next year, we'll continue that flexibility. But I'm hoping that things are back to normal by then and we can just reinstate on ordinary booking policies.
Right, okay, fair enough. And Simon, I'm going to finish with you, because you mentioned there you work with 60 different operators. Have you noticed anything in terms of pricing or deals or added value? Is that sort of coming into play at all, or is that sort of not the issue? They just need the dates and the reassurance of, you know, when they can go. You know, what are you seeing being put out as offers into the market?
I think there's some really strong offers. Again, Hotelplan and Joe have got some good enticing offers. I think that, you know, again, the volumes are as they are. They're at a certain level where I can't draw too many conclusions. But I mean, some people are, there's varying degrees of pricing out there. There are probably some suppliers that it's clear, some very small suppliers, it's clear that we're probably trying to claw back or make the most of a season and a half miss. And then there are other suppliers who see the benefit in just launching at last year's prices, if you were, or this season's prices, and just trying to get bums on seats and trying to get the momentum. I think across all of those different suppliers, they had different different experiences, different things happened with refunds, etc., and they're kind of muddling their own way through.
And has that changed who you think you'll work with going forward, Simon? Because I imagine you've had some, challenges to get money back for some of your customers. Or it's been easier with some than others, I should say. So is that going to change going forward in terms of who you work with?
I definitely. I think our customers are the most important people in our business. Our staff are equally important, but we had some really challenging scenarios, really challenging scenarios, and that put that was not nice for our staff to have to deal with, and it was not nice for our customers to have to be a part of either. So where those scenarios happened and with certain suppliers, absolutely that there'll definitely be a different path, let's say, for us from a partnership perspective. But then our sales team and also driven by customers, on the phone now, people will ask, right, this hotel you've recommended me, it's a great hotel. Can you tell me what the terms were, or what happened last season when people had their holiday cancelled? And people are really, they want to know, and I think everyone became very au fait, up to date with travel law and the package travel regulations, and that's meant that there are some, the smart skiers out there want to know what they're getting into, and that naturally will also influence the amount of business that is done with certain suppliers as well. So yeah, it's I think that you're kind of judged on how you deal with a crisis, and we dealt with some absolutely fantastic suppliers through this. They had not the greatest messages, and it was some of them we had really difficult situations with, but they managed it, and they were upfront and honest, and they embodied that kind of partnership mentality that we want to have. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's probably a really good place to leave it, Simon. Really interesting what how the customer is changing in terms of what they're asking about, and hopefully people will pick up on that, because it's important to adapt, isn't it, to how customers are changing. All right. Well, we're really grateful to you, and we wish you all the best. Let's hope we get some skiing in before the end of this season. But if not, it's fantastic to hear that 2021-22 season is off to a flying start. So for now, thank you so much to Alex from Switzerland Tourism, Simon from Iglu, and to Joe from Hotelplan. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.